Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Visibility Effect. Thanks for subscribing, you'll be receiving more updates. Thanks for following us and thanks for liking us. So again, this is the visibility effect, or another insight into positivity. I bet we all need that, especially now at this moment in time. So our topic today will be being human again. I know it sounds a bit strange, but yeah, how can we in the current context learn to be human again? So the title, or another title, will be COVID-19, or a reminder of who we really are. So who are we really? Yeah, we're human. We're human. We're Mr. X or Mrs. Y. But who are we really? So in less than a week, in less than a few weeks, a microscopic being has changed the world's order. How has this happened? I've been asking myself this question a lot recently, really, and we don't just know what's happening. It's a lot of fear around, but what are the changes? So let's have a look together. Okay, so thanks to COVID-19, we've seen some ceasefire in places like Syria, Libya, or other places in the world where there has been political unrest. So we've also noticed political elections have been postponed in Great Britain, for example, in Australia, Spain, where some political opponent have not been able to achieve that. So in a way, it's kind of good. In businesses, so we've seen businesses have been allowed grant. We've seen some deferred VAT payment. We've seen the protection of our social security, so what some of us will call benefits. Zero interest rates on loans. We've seen a lot happening. Okay, but I am not saying that thanks to the virus, I'm happy to see those changes. In everything, I like to bring out a positive aspect. That's why, again, I'm talking about the visibility effect. The visibility effect for me, it's trying to bring something positive despite the circumstances. You can be going through a very dark path. At the moment, we're going through a very dark path, but it doesn't mean that everything should look gloomy, everything should look dark, it's not the end of the world, no. So the great thing, so when I say thanks to COVID-19, we've seen some of this around the world. Again, we've seen a price reduction, a reduction in fuel. For many months, we've not been able to have the price of the fuel down, but right now it's so cheap. I mean, I live in Manchester. It's so cheap to buy some fuel for your car, which is great. And despite the circumstances as well, we've had a lot of people fearing for the loss of jobs, but for some reason, the government have put in place some job protection act. So we've seen a few things happening, bad things happening, but the greatness of what I'm trying to portray is that as a society, as humans, we've seen the government, we've seen how we're able to come together to do something together. It's what I call compassion. It's eventually what I call humanity. What are we really like? We're about to discuss further in here. So there's been a lot of changes thanks to COVID-19. Okay, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there are lots of other things happening in terms of the effect, the negative effect of this virus. But I don't want to talk about it, not because it's not reality, but because the media is already talking about it. So I don't really want to dwell on it. I want to dwell on what we can learn from this and what, as human, we can sit down and gain from this. So there's also been a sudden regeneration of family ties. Okay, so people have started having time. Children are more present at home. Parents are learning to know their children. Couples are learning to speak to each other face to face. Yeah, right, I've said it right, face to face. There seems to be more time to simply reconnect to one another in simplest way. So it's not just about the routine. It's not just about waking up in the morning, taking the kids to school, going to work, coming back, cooking, doing some house chores, and going through the homework phase with the kids and taking them to bed, and again, one day after another. It's not just about that. I understand a lot of people are working from home, but the greatness of this situation is that we're having a lot of time. We're having a lot of time to think. We're having a lot of time as a family to reconnect, really, because we've been living together under the same roof, but the routine has taken over us. The routine has taken over our relationships. We speak as couples in the same household. Sometimes we speak with each other to give instructions. Excuse me. So yeah, we speak with each other to give each other instructions. Can you buy this when you're coming back? Can you stop at the shop? Can you do this and that for with the kids? Can you take the kids to the activities, to football, to swimming? How many times do we sit down and really speak with each other? Even though we're working from home. So if you're honest, a lot of you will realize that you've had a lot more time, to your family, with your family members, than you would have imagined, really. It's not, you're not just waiting to have time off from work to spend quality time with your family. You're actually having a good quality time with your family. You're spending more time together. Yeah, that's a result of confinement, but for me, it's one of the positive side of everything that's happening out there. Okay, you spend more time with your kids. Your kids are not just going to school and then coming back and, after doing their homework, going on the PlayStation and devices and all that. Although they'll still do that, but you have plenty of time for each other, really. Let's be honest about it. You have plenty of time for each other. As a couple, you learn to reconnect. You have enough time to talk about the things you've not really spoken about for months, weeks, years. You have that time. And it's great although for some people it might be difficult, because some people spend more time talking on the phone, although they're families or they're couples. Some people spend more time chatting on the phone, than talking face to face. So that's why I say couple are learning to speak to each other face to face. You have time for a conversation. It's not just going out for a movie, but you can watch a movie and you still have that time. Weekend comes, you're not going, you're not taking the kids to the swimming pool, to football lessons, you're staying at home, you have a meal, you do things together, and you still have that time. So the question is, if you've not thought about it, what are you planning to do with this time? What are you planning to do with this time? Reconnect with your family, reconnect with yourself. You might not be religious, you might not be, I don't know, you might not practice any religion, but it's important to reconnect with oneself. It's important to have that relationship with oneself. Okay, because if you have that relationship with yourself, you should be able to have that relationship with other people, where you sit down and you think about every single relationship you're having with every human being in your life. Okay, so we're also noticing a resurfacing of our humanity. And this is what I like most about what's going on now. We have so many reasons to despair at the moment. The statistics are not looking very good. There's a reason to despair. When you look at the news, there's always something bad going on, where today is the 1st of April. The 1st of April, We've been confined here in the UK for about 2 weeks now. It's not looking any good. But I'm more concerned about, our humanity. Where are we going with our humanity? Maybe it's a chance for us to rethink our humanity. So suddenly we realize that we're human again. Who is rich and who is the poor? Who's the rich and who is the poor? Did we not all lined out on that supermarket queue, ready to rate some of these important products? Yes, you've heard me right. We've had days where finding toilet rolls on a shelf was more like a battle. Pasta, spaghetti, and things like that. It's not about who is rich, it's who gets there first. Are we poor, rich, black, white, Indian, Chinese, queuing desperately for hospital beds? Or are we humans in desperate need of help? So who are we really? COVID-19 has not chosen a preferred continent. No, it hasn't chosen a preferred continent. It has chosen our planet. Our planet. So it's not about whether you belong to this flag or that flag or this flag or that flag. No. It's not choosing your color. It's not choosing. Yeah, I understand that a group age is. We have older people, unfortunately, more at risk than the majority of people or other people with unstable, with health issues. Okay, but for me, the basic line is, at the end of the day, it's about our humanity. It's not choosing whether we're rich or poor. It's not about that anymore. Anyone can contract this virus. So, as human, what are we? What's the lesson behind this? For me, one of the lessons is that, we're all citizens of this world. It doesn't matter how much we want to look at things from our a cultural spectrum, cultural experience. We might be black, white, Chinese, Indian, and our decisions might be influenced by our cultural background. Fair enough. Fair enough. But comes times like this where your neighbor, might be black, white, Indian, and your actions, if you're not careful about what you're doing, your action will impact your street. It doesn't matter whether, it's someone from a specific color. If you have the virus, if you're a carrier and you go out there, you will infect other people. So what actions, how are we dealing with this as human? So if we're going out there, if you're not feeling well and you have to go to the hospital and there are limited beds, who goes in first? So it's more about saving our humanity, really, caring for each other one way or another. How do we do this? It's up to us. It's up to us, really. So maybe it's a reminder as politicians, individuals, companies, countries, to think before we act in the coming future. So this planet belongs to us. It doesn't belong to a race. It doesn't belong to a group of people, although there might be theories out there that a small group of people might be ruling the world. Well, whichever theory is out there, the truth is this planet belongs to us. This planet belongs to me. This planet belongs to you. And whatever happens with this planet is up to you and me. Whatever happens with this planet is up to you and me. And this choice is made now. This choice is made now. And how you decide to save your life, how you decide to save your life, the life of your family, how you decide to have a relationship with the person you're living under the same roof with, your neighbor, your community, the world. This decision is up to you. So what is your value as a human being right now? What's your value? Despite scientific advances, let's remember that we're still humans, not yet gods. As some may have come to think, we're still humans. If faced with a theoretical question before this event, many high-profile government representatives would have assured such a disaster is never to strike a great nation like Great Britain, America, France, Spain, Italy, I don't know. But it's a reminder for me, what's happening now, it's sad enough, but it's a reminder that we're humans, okay? It's a reminder that we're humans. It's a reminder that this planet belongs to everybody. Something can be happening in Africa today and we think, well, it's their issue, it's up to them to deal with it. Something might be happening to China, to Asia, and we think it's up to them to deal with it. It's not my problem. But hey, unfortunately, the reality has hit us hard. It doesn't matter what's happening on another continent. It doesn't matter. Because eventually, it will come back to us sooner or later, wherever you are. So what are your values? What's the decision you're making today with your life? It's not just about you. It's never going to be just about you. It's going to be about you, about your family, about your race maybe, but eventually about everyone as human. Only a few weeks into the pandemic, and we've had to rely on our primitive sense of humanity to help in starting to solve the issue. So we're just starting to resolve this issue, really. And there's a lot going on, I'm not going to dwell on that. But essentially is, what are we ready to do as humans? As human, what are we ready to do? How are we ready to put our efforts together? How do we come together, acknowledge each other, and resolve an issue that's everybody's issue? This issue is not just about Europe, it's not just about China, it's not just about America, it's not just about Africa, it's everybody. It's everybody. So who are we really? What values do we really believe in? I have this beautiful quote here, and it'll be lovely to finish with that. When it rains, it pours, but soon the sun shines again. Stay positive, better days are on their way. Let's not be taken away by, unfortunately, the negative mood we have at the moment. It might be very sad. We'll probably know someone who is affected one way or another. But how do we remain positive? How do we keep going? We need to keep going. This is the world. This is the world. We need to build it. How do we build it? So thank you very much for listening. You're listening again to the Visibility Effect. I wish you all the best. Be safe. Wash your hands. Respect the rules. Listen to what is said. All the regulations about how to stay safe. And please stay safe. Subscribe to our channel. Like